Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rising of the Dreamerverse. We're just going to start off with a quick public service announcement from myself. I'm sorry. This specific podcast episode should have been released about 2-3 weeks ago, and it didn't because I'm a fucking idiot and didn't do the correct thing with one setting on the audio in our whatever. Anyway, we fucked up. I fucked up. Yeah, we didn't fuck. They didn't fuck up. I fucked up. But we wasted 2 hours of our lives talking about what we're about to talk about 3 weeks ago. So we're gonna try and do it again. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Star Wars Acolyte Rising of the Dreamerverse podcast episode. Welcome back, baby. Alrighty. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Rising of the Dreamerverse. I think it's episode 22, I believe. This is number 22. So, like I said there in the intro, big fuck up on my end. This should have already been out. And we've already kind of, I guess, not broken a promise, but broken kind of one of our commitments of trying to release at least 1 to 2 episodes per month. But that was a big part of it, though. And then we couldn't schedule, I think, for what, like 2-3 weeks after that.
Yeah, it's just, guys, summer plans.
Yeah, get outside.
We've been outside, you know.
If the sunglasses aren't a huge hint, I think you can understand what he's getting at, ladies and gentlemen.
We've been partying. We've been partying.
We got a new homeowner over here.
Homeowner life.
It takes a lot of time.
Takes so much time.
And scaring away stray cats and stuff.
Yeah. And then, guys, I mean, we released this podcast last October. We have 22 episodes. You're welcome, you know. Not to be that person, but like we put out a lot of content, and we're gonna continue to do that. But
it's your honor.
You're welcome. You're welcome. But we do appreciate you guys listening. But you know, it's just been summer, so you know, life be life. Yeah, let's get to it.
Yeah, let's because during our 2-hour session last time, I had probably some of the biggest belly laughs I've ever had between two people arguing about a particular show in a universe or a setting of one that we're all fans of Star Wars.
Far away.
Yeah, so
Is it getting further?
Yeah.
So guys, when we recorded last time, we mentioned this before we started recording, but the show was not done yet. And you guys were already kind of getting into it as to why it was bad or not bad or whatever. I won't tease who's on which side yet. I'm gonna let them share their piece here in a moment. But now the show's done. So now that the show is done, I'm hoping that you two maybe have a lot more to talk about, even than last time, or at least just bigger things to bring to the table in terms of the argument here. So this is officially the Yemi versus Nick Star Wars Acolyte debate. Round 1, we will begin with you, Yemi.
Yeah. First and foremost, I will say that I do get some of the criticism of the show, as far as, and I brought it up, as far as the pacing. They didn't do themselves justice as far as releasing it week by week, because the Star Wars fans just picked it apart based upon that. They should have released it all at once, because the way things left off, it was very cliffhangery. It just left off on cliffhanger, so people were just like, this doesn't make sense, why is this happening? But now that the show is has been completed, we know the whole story. I think it filled in a lot of the issues as far as what people were complaining about. Like, people were complaining about certain characters, as as far as Premier, how is the Jedi, like, how are they going to get away with, seeing a Sith, like, and then they haven't seen a Sith in like over 1,000 years. Like, how's this, because it's like 67 years before Phantom Menace, and the way the show ended, all the Jedis basically who were killed, and there's, the rest of the Jedi lied about the truth. Yeah, so.
Yeah, convenient.
I mean,
the Jedi just
All right.
giant cover-up story.
One second, Nick. One second.
Yeah,
so
so-
Yemi, so
yeah.
you are on the side of that. You liked the show.
Yeah, yeah.
You loved it. You think it was good.
I liked it. Did I love it?
No,
No.
didn't love it. Okay.
Didn't
All right,
love
sorry.
it.
Didn't,
Yeah.
not,
No, you're good.
Not
You're
trying to put words
No,
in.
no, I liked it. I think the criticism. I mean, it was
too much?
It was too much. I think ultimately we're entering an era of different like shows being for different people in a sense. Like a lot of people didn't, just use an example as far as the prequels. A lot of people did not like the prequels. Like they can say all they want now, and because they're all, a lot. Oh, maybe it's our generation that who are older now and praise it. But those back when the prequels came out, they crucified the prequels. They've crucified Hayden Christensen as far as portrayal of Anakin. I mean, to the point where he wasn't really getting roles for like past like 10, 15 years. Like, so I just find it, Star Wars fans are very interesting in the sense of, how they criticize things. And I think in the sense of with the Acolyte, there are people that do like it. And I think it's geared towards a different demographic. I feel like it's geared towards primarily, I think honestly towards women. I think it was kind of geared towards people of color as well. Cause you see a lot of diversity in the way the show was. We're seeing black Jedis, we're seeing black female protagonists.
Were the two main characters women?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
she's playing the same. She's playing.
She's
Yeah. So I think it's just geared towards that. I mean, even Leslie, she's LGBTQ. So I think it's
So it's hitting all these different avenues.
yeah,
basically.
and but I also think there's a lot of unwarranted energy coming towards like, oh, bro, like lesbian witches. Like it's just too much. Like if the show isn't for you, the show
Were you
isn't
about to
for
say
you.
lesbian witches?
Yeah. I mean, well, they're the coven of witches. People were saying like they're like this lesbo witches and lesbian witches and all that. I don't know. I just think like ultimately the show may not have been geared for certain Star Wars fans, and I think there's going to be different shows like Andor, which some will appreciate, some don't. But we're just entering an area where there's just so much Star Wars content. Maybe they need to tone it down a little bit and not put out too much material and focus on quality versus quantity.
Is this one of those, or you think this is a quantity over a quality project?
No, I think that the show.
We'll get to you, Nick.
I think that the show was I think the show was good. Like I think that I would give it personally a 7 out of 10. I didn't love it. I see the issues as far as a lot of people point out. Just
but they're not too big to like. Make
but I think that the writing definitely could have been better in the sense of like when it came to the main character. Like when I look at May and Osha, as far as they're not the most compelling characters for me. Like they weren't my favorites. Like when it came to how they were written, I think they were kind of. But I did like Soul. I did like Mir. I did. Yeah. I mean, Soul was definitely my favorite for sure. I liked how conflicted he was, and it was nice to see the Jedi, which they've done in the past, painted in a way that clearly they're not perfect. Like clearly they make mistakes. Clearly, and I think that's what the premise of a lot of what we were seeing too. And it was also just refreshing to see the Jedi. And I mentioned it before, like not seeing the Skywalkers, not seeing something related to the Empire. We're seeing a total new fresh of characters in a different timeline that is taking place and something that we weren't familiar with. And I don't know. I think a lot of fans they say that they want new stuff, but then they're blinded by nostalgia and they want to see the same,
just
same.
a different.
They want to see
same.
freaking Anakin, or they want to see something in the Empire era or during the Clone Wars era, which are both fantastic. But like there's so much Star Wars content. There's so much Star Wars lore. I mean, like the Star Wars Legends, which I'm sure they're gonna expand on or explore more, but I would like to see things outside of the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
I love the Skywalkers, but we got to move on past them.
All right.
We got to.
Man, I feel that.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, it's basically what it's all been about. I mean, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta. There's so much. I mean,
there's just something.
There's just so many. I mean, the Knights of the Old Republic. We can we can focus on that era. We can focus on thousands of years in the past. You know, we can go in the future. Like, we can focus on, yeah. It just doesn't have to be about
One family.
no, not the one family or just like the empire. Like, I want to focus on new characters, and that's I think that's where I was coming from as far as why I was watching the show with such. This is refreshing. Like, and then I feel like when I did see people that were talking like, oh, the show really isn't that bad, but then the noise was on Twitter like people were like, this is fucking awful. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's fix that mic up a little
Yeah.
bit for Nick just so that
Yeah.
you can pick him up. But
Yeah,
let's see.
I have
Yeah.
All right.
I have the antithesis opinion of yours.
But now we got Nick. I think it's now obvious which side Nick is on.
Yeah, it couldn't be more opposite of Yemi's. I thought it was absolutely terrible.
Oh boy.
I basically was hate watching it every week, just finishing it. Every Tuesday at 9 o'clock when it came on, I just was there with my hate popcorn ready to go. Yeah, I mean, you touched on some of the things that you were using as strengths that I think are weaknesses of the show. And one of them being they paint the Jedi as the bad guy. And I understand that the Jedi aren't perfect and their hubris is a problem. But the fact that they made them out to literally be basically evil, is crazy to me. Like, the way this all got covered up, we were wondering, like, okay, so this is like canon breaking lore, right? They haven't seen a Sith in 1,000 years, and now all of a sudden, 80 years before the Phantom Menace, a Sith pops up. How do they cover that up to where it like fits in with the canon? Well, Venestra, or whatever her name is, she just lies about it. That's their solution. Oh, we're just not going to tell anyone, and we're going to blame it on Soul. We're going to just blame it on Soul, her good friend. And I don't know. I just don't understand. I don't think that's good writing. I think it was almost like an excuse to fit this story in within the lore. And I still don't think it really fits that well. And then I think there's like a lot of agenda being pushed too. Like Leslie Headland just did an interview and she said that Soul is sexist. Did you get any type of feeling that Soul was sexist?
No.
Me neither. So I don't know where that comes from. And like, I'm not saying sexism doesn't
really
exist.
said that?
Yes.
That was a very defeated no, Yemi.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like I don't understand where that even comes from. I never got
I
that.
can't believe she said that.
I never got that like
Yeah, he's looking it up to confirm.
opinion from, or I never got that type of vibe from Soul. So I actually liked Soul. Although I didn't understand at the end. I don't know if I want to spoil stuff for you, but like
I don't give a shit.
I'm not really sure
You guys
why at
already
the end he
technically
just
did.
gave up and was like, yeah, go ahead and force choke me out. Like that was kind of wild to me, but okay. Other problems I had with it is the two main characters. They're just so hard to follow, like their motives, dude. Like Osha's motive switches like 12 times and her feelings are up and down, and same with her sister with May. Like May goes from I'm gonna kill you to I love you to don't leave me to now I'm gonna go and kill a bunch of Jedi masters without a weapon to oh I'm gonna join the Jedi and turn myself in to I want to kill Soul now and go back. It just like it was so confusing and like hard to follow. You know what I mean? There wasn't like one clear motive from start to finish. Like, okay, this is I feel this way because of this backstory.
Wait, you're saying
May and Osha, because Osha flips at the end, and it's
Yeah.
like, why?
I mean, Osha's flip made sense to me. I
I mean-
lied to her most of her life about what happened.
Sure,
She was-
and that was like who she looked up to was Soul. So I get the feeling of betrayal, but then to just like flip and kill him, like kind of didn't make sense to me.
I think she was just consumed with anger, and then Soul just kind of allowed it to happen. He was like,
Yeah.
"It's okay." Like Soul was like, "You," could,
But
bro,
that's weird, right? To just be like, it's okay, choke me out.
A little bit. I mean, depending on the story, I guess.
It's all good. I'll see myself out.
It's all good. Just choke me out. No, but I think, bro, Soul was so freaking conflicted about him lying for so
But he didn't even really do anything wrong is the problem. Did he?
I mean, he was interfering, bro. Like I think
That's what they went to the planet for.
No, well, I think they were on the planet
Unless they were just there cultivating moss, because that's what they did. You had a Wookiee with a metal detector.
No, I
Explain that to me.
Yeah.
Looking for treasure.
Yeah, it just made that came on the scene. It was like the first scene of one of the episodes, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
I didn't really think too much about that, but I
That's
think
fair.
no, but I think Soul, like, bro, that ass. When you say if he did anything wrong in this sense, I think he just reacted. He saw Osha disappearing, right? When they were
Right.
doing that whole thing, and
Right.
then he reacted
Right,
just based off of impulse and instinct,
trying to save the kid.
trying to save the
Right.
kid.
Which I think is-
I don't know if he intentionally was thinking that he was gonna actually kill her. It was just impulse.
Yeah,
So when
because
that-
I don't even know what she was doing, but she was like
Yeah.
evolving into like a demon or
Yeah,
whatever.
she was
I don't know what you call
I
it.
think she was like
There's no
syncing-
explanation for it.
Yeah, I think she was syncing with Osha in a way where they were gonna like teleport. Because didn't the girl with the horn, she ended up disappearing.
Yeah, we
She
don't
did
know.
the
I think
thing.
she's being saved in case there's a season 2. But yeah,
we'll see.
I'm almost positive she is.
Yeah,
And then I'm sure they'll bring in Dathomir somehow because she is Dathomirian or whatever. Well, the
Is she?
Zubrak. She's a Zubrak.
oh cool, cool.
So she's from Dathomir.
Yeah, so I mean, I
So-
think
Which would
I-
probably bring in the Night Sisters too somehow.
yeah,
The Night Sisters are cool.
yeah, nice.
They're great.
Cool. But I think
This Covenant was lame.
bro,
The witches all like doing their
The
little
power
seance dance,
one.
and then they all died just because
I think it
that
was
doesn't
the way,
make any sense though.
But no, I think it was the way they were connected too.
they were force controlling the Wookiee to
Yeah.
attack the other Jedi, and
as like a hive.
the
mind.
Jedi Master
yeah,
that was
mind.
on like the mission. It was played by Moss
Yeah.
from The Matrix. It
Yep.
was Trinity, and she goes over and basically like
Master
severs
Endera.
the connection, right?
Yeah.
And all of the witches just faint and die.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Interesting.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I
I guess that happened.
But I mean, look, this is how I interpret it, right? We don't know.
if they died or if they just fainted.
No, I think they're dead. But I think
Well, no, they eventually died because the stone castle somehow caught on fire.
Well, that was from
No, I know, but I guess the assumption is if they didn't die right away,
yeah,
they
probably
died
from
because
the
they
fire.
passed out in the
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand how rocks catch on fire, but that maybe.
Well, wasn't it electronic? Wasn't it like an electronic type of fortress or something? And
I mean,
through the
it's
fire.
It's mostly stone, but yeah, you know, it's
It's
just like the fire in space in episode 1. That doesn't make any sense because there's no oxygen. So how's a fire gonna
Well,
happen?
look, see, here you go. But you're talking
Oh
about
yeah, sorry, logic, basic
No,
logic.
but hey, but there's a lot of non-logic in Star Wars, for sure.
sure.
So,
But you know,
but
fire
yeah,
needs oxygen.
yeah. But let me answer your point with Soul like first.
Okay.
Soul, I think
Sex
yeah.
is soul.
I don't agree with that. That was again, that was stupid.
It doesn't
but-
make any sense, but it's
But
okay.
but Soul, I think he was conflicted as far as just killing her mom,
Yeah,
her seeing that, or May seeing that, in a sense, and then freaking having to lie to Osha for so many years about it,
right.
and just the whole situation. Like he thought that he was doing the right thing, but then he's so conflicted about lying to this girl and she can't get over it, and
Yeah,
then till eventually she finds out the truth, and then
but again, it's kind of like sorry, I can't forget his name. He's played by the same guy who plays Tommen. He's the guy that drinks the poison and kills
Yeah.
himself. So the whole time in the first episode, he drinks
Yeah,
poison that
yeah,
May gives him
Torben.
and kills himself.
yeah, Torben.
Torben, yeah.
Master
Torben. And
Yeah.
he's just for 10 years he just
Yeah.
sat there
and this force,
levitated and
Yeah.
didn't talk to anyone or eat any food. So he's
Yeah.
like in a
Not bad.
meditation state.
Yeah,
And then he wakes
pretty
up out of it. May gives him poison and he kills
Yeah.
himself. And so the whole time you're watching, you're like, all right, there must be some like grave mistake that he makes that causes
Yeah.
him to want to do that.
Mhm.
And his only mistake was speeding off towards the coven. That's the only thing he did.
I think it honestly came down to the lie. Like all of them, like it focused on this Jedi and this mystery of like how only those.
But that was afterwards.
No, but that's what I'm saying. All 4 of them knew about this lie. Like they thought May was dead. They thought that they were responsible of this, them interfering, trying to save Osha or whatever. Even
Which-
though Master Endura was like, "Don't do
Endar,
it."
yeah.
She was like, "We're done.
Yeah.
We're
Right,
it's
we're
over
going
this.
home.
We're going home."
The Jedi Council
Yeah.
didn't approve of this.
Didn't prove it.
And then
Yeah.
Torben goes, because he wanted to go home was his whole thing. He's like,
Yeah.
I miss Coruscant. I want to go home.
Yeah.
And so then he sped off to go get the kids to prove that they could go home. That doesn't make sense.
No, but
That's a
wasn't,
plot
but no,
hole.
but wasn't
That doesn't-
Soul? No, but Soul. Something was going on.
No,
with
but Torben's the one that sped off.
he sped off after they found out about them.
So they had found out about the kids, and then
Yeah.
they submitted like
Right,
for
right.
approval to the Jedi Council. And the
But
Jedi Council said, "No, don't get involved. Come home."
yeah, I need
And
to.
then
Yeah,
Torben was like, "I know how we can go home. We're gonna go find the girls, and then that'll be our proof to come home." And he sped off, and it's like,
yeah,
but they just told you to come home.
yeah. I need to rewatch that scene.
So
I feel
again,
like
that's
that
bad writing.
that is bad writing.
That's
in the
terrible
If that's how
writing. That is exactly how it
that's
happened.
how it played out. But I
That's
thought
exactly how
I
it played
thought
out.
Soul was the initial one saying like, "Hey,
Soul
there's something-"
wanted to.
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought there was something
But
going
and Dara
on.
said no, and Soul was like, "All right." And
Yeah.
then Torben speeds off, and then that's where you get the whole
But did Torben
scene.
know about the fact that the decision of the Jedi Council?
yes.
Yeah, I need to rewatch that because I don't.
Because literally,
we need to
Dara
confirm
comes out
that.
was like, "Yeah, we're not going."
He said
to
we
get-"
need to
Yeah,
confirm that.
no,
Yeah.
real talk, because like that is
I mean,
that
if
is
you
that's
just-
a plot hole. That's
Yeah, no,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
something I've seen other creators critique. You know, I
Yeah.
watch. You know, I think that you think I've been corrupted by other people with my opinion on it.
You
But I
definitely
simply okay, but the mass opinion on it is bad. It's a 14% approval rating on
there's people that are
Rotten
review
Tomatoes.
bombing it too, man.
okay, but
And
it's
it's a lot- and it's a lot of-
14% is crazy low. That's the
Yeah.
lowest I've ever seen
Man,
for
I
a
mean,
Star Wars.
but I also
project.
think I think there's a lot of. I mean, truthfully, I think there is a lot of other people bringing their own like
agendas in.
agenda,
Sure,
like
I'm not saying that everyone is correct for hating the show, but my whole thing is like it also detracts from Anakin. This whole thing detracts from Anakin.
where you're saying the way they were born.
The way they were born,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that they are so old and then are being submitted to the Jedi Council to be trained and they get approved, and then it doesn't work out with May and Osha. So then the logic is now like, so when Anakin comes around, they're gonna look back and be like, see, it didn't work with them, so we're not gonna train him. And it's just like, all right, like stop comparing these two twins to Anakin Skywalker, the chosen one, and it's just like,
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean? Like that.
well, I think
it detracts from Anakin, which is mind blowing to me because he's the most important person in Star Wars.
yeah, he is
entirely.
the chosen
It
one. He
revolves
is the
around
main
him,
character.
the
Yeah,
whole thing.
I agree.
So,
But I don't know if it detracts from it. I do have an issue as far as with,
How they were born.
how they were born. But
right,
I wish they would explain more in the sense of because they were basically two people and they were split up,
yeah,
and then so I want them to. I mean, if we get second season, go explain a little bit more as far as
we just needed
how
to do
the witches
fusion
created,
dance.
how the witches were created, or how the two twins were created in a sense.
Yeah, because they never really touch on it. They just say that basically,
Yeah.
mother, what was her name? She
Mother Anasea.
Anasea,
yeah.
Anasea. Yeah, this tells you how I've kind of forgot about this show. Since it came out. I just wiped it from my mind. But yeah, she says that she created them inside like her partner's belly. And
Yeah.
that's how they were born.
Yeah.
Which is mind blowing too that they don't look like the Zabrak at all. But that's okay,
Well,
Not even a little bit. They don't. Look
I mean,
like her at
well,
all. They have
well-
no DNA traits from a Zabrak whatsoever.
well, given that she created her, the Anasea,
Right, but
What-
they're literally being created inside of.
another person's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So,
no, I hear that.
but
But
again,
also-
I don't
that's a good
think
point.
Leslie
But
Nielsen
also-
has answers to these at
Mm,
all. It's not
yeah.
like it was. That's my problem. Is like
Yeah.
I don't think this show was very well thought out. I think they went with somewhat of an idea and then just threw things together. Like, well, that'll be pieced together because of this and because of this, instead of like having a cognizant like idea of like how this is all going to fit together and fit into the Star Wars canon. Because I
think
understand
it fits
that.
into the canon, bro. I think
I don't think it does.
I think so. I mean, the way, at least how everything pans out, it's clearly
Okay, so then what
a big
happens
lie.
with Plagueis? He
Plagueis
just doesn't
is
choose Chimere.
Plagueis is TBD or to be determined. I think I found
Yeah,
that
because they threw
interesting.
him in at the end because they just
Found-
had to.
I found that interesting. I think they're
He's
teasing.
just watching from the corner like some creepy guy.
I feel like
Yes,
I think they're teasing as far as what's to come in season 2, in a sense of maybe
You
he's
think it's
watching them
getting
both.
season 2?
If it gets to season 2, there's a big problem. But,
I think if it
whatever.
gets to season 2, I'd be excited because I see where can you go from there. Because all right, we solved that. Clearly, they're probably. I mean, Leslie will probably still be the showrunner, but they're gonna bring in a whole different batch of writers, given the reaction of so many people not liking, in a sense, the writing. So
All right. Well, speaking of, I guess, of liking things, I would say I was gonna ask Nick if he had anything else to add, but he just kept going. He just kept pounding. He kept pounding point after point after point. So for round two, speaking
Yeah.
of explaining things, obviously I have not seen the show in its entirety, or really, I guess, really at all. I've just seen clips of stuff. I've seen opinions online. I've seen it all. But I did see one particular clip that was, I believe, about like a minute and a half long. I don't know exactly how long.
I think
it
I
was.
sent it to you, right?
I think I sent it to you guys because
Okay,
No, you
because
were like, you were like, yeah, I'm out.
yeah, well, yeah. So
Talking
I
about Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Star Wars.
I'll explain the scene because I don't know who the characters are. So then
Yeah.
obviously once I probably explain it, you'll be able to tell me what what it is. But yeah, so I was scrolling Twitter one night, and this was after we had already tried to record the podcast of originally, and they were like, you know, he was saying you need to watch it. He's obviously saying you don't need to watch it. And so then I'm scrolling Twitter and I see a clip from the show. At least I believed it was from the show. It looked like it was from the show because I saw the dude from Squid Games in it, and I knew that he's a character. So I was like, I pulled it up and I was like, all right, I want to watch this. And it was basically a fight scene between, I think, two people, him and some other guy. With
Soul and Chimera.
yeah, I think it was and it was on some like there was like kind of like a this like kind of like almost like bridge looking type thing, and then there was like the ground. But anyway, it's them two fighting, and I mean, listen, I've watched basically all of the Star Wars, other than the only things I haven't seen are I don't think I've seen Andor like fully. I've seen a few episodes of it, but I haven't seen it fully. I didn't see Ahsoka, and then I haven't seen this, and then I didn't watch
Obi-Wan, probably.
Obi-Wan. Yeah, that was the only one that I didn't really watch. I watched all the other stuff. I watched the trilogies, all that shit, the post stuff that everybody is up in there about with Kylo Ren and all that shit too. Now all that shit went. But I've seen all that. And all of the fighting shit that I've seen in Star Wars, I'm just gonna say, and this is why I sent it to them and said, yeah, I don't know if I think I've seen enough, is because was by far the most weird, like it almost looked like it was too obvious that they were like being like flown around on harnesses with the movements they were doing. Like it was and if there was any CGI in it, it was fucking awful. That's just my opinion after that clip. And I sent it to them and I was like, this is terrible. And so I just would like your both takes on that clip itself, and maybe give me some insight as to maybe why it's not terrible, or maybe why I'm maybe getting it out of context, maybe because maybe I'm not seeing it for the full picture.
You are. You're getting it correct.
But
You're getting it correct.
it did not really look
Yeah.
like a. I mean, they definitely tried to make it Star Warsy, I'd say, because they're fucking floating around and shit.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
just the way it looked, just It didn't look natural at all. Which I'm not saying it's supposed to look natural because it's fucking Star Wars, but it's like it just looked too like. It looked like they didn't have enough money to make the scene. If I'm being completely honest with you,
I just
like, or at least to make it
There
look
was some
how it should have looked, like as smooth as it could.
I'll give credit where credit's due. There was some choreography in the show that was quite good in terms of the fighting. That was fun, but it was like having a shitty meal and then getting like a fortune cookie at the end of it to be like, oh, here you go. Like it just wasn't enough for me.
So like, was that the scene I'm talking about in particular? Was that like one of the worst ones in the show?
I didn't like it because it reminded me too much of like a kung fu movie, and it just felt
that too. Yes,
it
it felt
out of place for Star
very
Wars.
kung
It's not
fu.
that
It felt very kung fu.
Jedi couldn't maybe do stuff like that, but you don't ever see a Jedi do that in any of the 9 movies or any other show, and then it's just thrown in this one, and it took me out of the Star Wars universe into something else, and I was like, it just, as I'm watching the fight, I was like, what the fuck? Like,
So
That's kind of what.
Yeah,
I watched the clip.
I think- I
what
think-
the fuck?
I just thought it was weird. I was like, this doesn't fit. Like, this doesn't fit the Star Wars aesthetic at all.
yeah, I
They
think
don't fight like that.
I thought some of the stuff.
I
The
disagree with that.
I will say.
Who fights like that?
I will say in the scene, I thought some of the stuff, the lightsaber shit was cool, but like just the rest of it, I would say
kung fu
the
stuff added in.
movement itself was
I would
just
I would
weird.
say
Yeah,
I would
like-
say look, this is gonna be a weird.
And again,
example.
that's like the only thing I.
Yeah,
that's
no,
like
that's
the
what I'm saying. You need
extent
to
of
watch.
what
You
I've
need to
seen,
watch the show.
so,
I would
yeah.
say the important thing to note.
I'm not judging the whole show off that. I'm just saying.
No,
hey,
you're
look,
good, you're good.
Not a good
Just
start. Not a good
listen,
first
listen,
impression.
And what's crazy, it was 180 million went into this show.
Yeah.
180 million.
That's nuts, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan, that's one of my biggest gripes too.
One thing-
Alone is Obi-Wan, a show about one of the most pivotal characters in Star Wars history. That show, which fans have been hammering for forever, got 90 million allotted for it, and this one got 180. That's
And-
crazy.
I think-
and the Obi-Wan reaction was way
Okay.
better, wasn't it?
Well,
Or
at least
not,
in
maybe not.
Obi-Wan, there's
It
some
was-
fan
it was much
service
better,
in
yeah.
Vaderverse
It was much
Obi-Wan,
better.
and it was like, and there was scenes with
Better.
Hayden and.
Better than a 14% on my favorite website.
I mean, there were definitely
Can't hate
problems
that.
with Obi-Wan, and it's just basically lack of content. Like, you know, there was some stuff.
Well,
that
it was
happened.
it was shot during the pandemic.
Yeah. Well,
I-
it just and there's a lack of a story a little bit. A little.
What was shot during the pandemic?
The
Obi-Wan. or-
Obi-Wan,
oh, okay,
Obi-Wan.
okay.
And I think where
I thought you were about to say this, and I was
no,
about
but I
to wait,
think
what?
the difference between where the budget as far as Obi-Wan and then the Acolyte is they were-
How do you
how do you
pronounce
say
it?
it?
Acolyte.
Whatever, Acolyte.
How
What
have
did
I
I
been?
say?
How have I
There's
been?
no U in it.
How have
Yeah,
I been?
whatever.
How have I been saying it? Acolyte or Acolyte?
I think ACU. It's there's no U.
Acolyte?
Acolyte. I thought it was.
Oh, whatever.
Acolyte.
The difference between Acolyte and then Obi-Wan.
I'm hoping
is-
I didn't say
Well,
Acolyte.
no, but Acolyte actually was shot on like location. It was like actually they were using real locations where Obi-Wan was shot in that room. 90%
I
of
mean,
the show was shot in that.
I'm not
That-
hating
Not to like
Obi-Wan.
ruin, I guess,
Yeah.
your point here, but wouldn't that then even make more of an argument as to why Acolyte
show
should have been
should've been better.
should have been better?
Yes.
I mean, well, no, I still put Obi-Wan over it.
Another-
But again, I'm still fighting for the fact that the Acolyte is not bad, and like to even defend that scene, like as far as the Jedi, like, I mean, it's during the High Republic area. Like, I think they did a great job, and Nick point on it a little bit, but just I think the lightsaber sequences
yeah.
were probably the best I've seen.
They've had
since the
No,
prequel.
well,
They
that's
had
why I
some
was saying
great
with that scene,
like they were
specifically-
amazing.
Well,
Like, and
with-
they were
good.
clearly trained. Like it showcased
Yeah.
the level of like.
Oh,
when
the
it
dude
came-
who plays Chimera can bang.
Well, that
Yeah,
was like
but
the best part of
all
that,
of them
the scene.
could, all of them could fight.
Yeah.
Like Soul
yeah.
was
Soul
like
wasn't bad either.
Soul wasn't
being
bad.
being an older guy, he wasn't bad.
To me, that was
So
like the
wasn't
best part
bad.
about that scene was just the lightsaber shit. But then,
Yeah,
it-
but
like I
then the
said,
crouching tiger, him dragging
purely
stuff,
the
it's like,
movement
what?
stuff. It was weird, like
Again,
how they were
it
moving
didn't
around.
Feel like it fit.
Well, no, but that's the thing. Like I mean, maybe this was Leslie's decision, but they announced it before that we're gonna bring kung fu elements to the
But
Acolyte.
why?
And I'm not, yeah, I'm
Just
not,
in
well,
the sense of the way they fought. Like
So
you
I'm
saw
not-
some of that.
and I'm
then
not
when-
trying to butt in here
We've
because
never seen that.
Well, I mean, I was gonna use an example. Mace Windu in the Star Wars Clone Wars animated series, he loses his lightsaber for a moment and he goes completely kung fu. So like
Okay.
they're trained in that way. So it was cool to see that in the sense of like the High Republic, clearly, you know.
But, like, it's
I see his
campy.
point though. I
It's
see his
campy kung
no. I
fu,
see.
though.
Well, I see his point as to why
it
it's
never
weird.
felt like it was campy to me, bro.
Oh.
I mean, but also maybe I'm a little biased because I was
Well, all
I
those
like kung
days,
fu.
You were locked in.
yeah, and
All
I,
I'm saying
and I
is I
thought
see
that
his
scene
point.
was dope. I was like, oh,
I see his
dope.
point and why it could be weird because if they haven't done it in any of the stuff
In live
before,
action.
and then if this show does come before all of it, right? Because
right.
this is pre all everything.
This is supposed
That's
to be at the height of the Jedi.
Right, yeah,
When
okay.
The Jedi are
Exactly,
the
my,
strongest.
but exactly.
and
my
this is
point,
before
though,
Anakin.
right?
This is before
Yeah.
all that though,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Before all the stuff that we
80
have seen.
80 years before that.
Yeah,
But that-
so,
but-
well, so that's what I guess what I'm trying to say is that's
Yeah.
why I get it does make it even more a little bit weird is because like now they're just introducing some new element that we haven't seen at all and all the stuff that comes after and you're
Right,
telling me
but-
that nobody else other than in an animation show that they would have used like why didn't they use kung fu in any of the 9 movies beforehand or
Well,
whatever?
let me
George wasn't trying to do that.
But let
That's what I'm
me
saying.
let me
Yeah,
let me.
it does seem weird.
Well, the clone, like I said,
I'm not saying it
Clone
can't
Wars,
happen.
Mace Windu.
I'm not saying it can't happen.
I'm just saying that's an example in the sense of
Sure.
the Jedi are trained in that way, and we're talking about this is the height of the Jedi, right? We clearly saw that the level as far as how they were
Fix
trained.
that just a little. I don't know why.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to.
Yeah.
I think it might just be a little loose. might
Yeah,
have to
we
just figure it out.
clearly saw the way the Jedi were trained in the sense of, and they did a good job as far as the lightsaber sequences of showcasing like these Jedi are fucking, they're beastie when it comes to how they handle and fight and everything.
Yeah, Chimera was OP for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, he took out like, what, 6, 7 Jedi?
yeah. I mean, but that isn't that usually how a Sith is, anyways. Usually they're probably
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
Sith-ish. I don't know what he is particularly, but
Yeah,
And
that's
it's-
the other.
but in the sense of like they're
Right.
usually more so in the sense very powerful.
I mean,
Compared
yes.
to like most Jedi's, like I mean,
yeah, but
and Sith and Chimera was clearly trained. You know, he probably was either
you know
a
who
Jedi
is-
Knight. Yeah,
well, do you know who his master was?
yeah. His master was
Sinestra,
Benestra. So
who has got to be the worst character, maybe in the whole fucking series.
I see.
She covered up everything and blamed it on Soul. That's
I mean,
Unacceptable to me.
you should have told the truth, like, hey, this is what
Yeah, you
happened.
go and tell Yoda what happened.
Yeah, I mean,
Is Yoda in the show?
The very end,
At
they
the
tease him
very
just to
end,
try to
okay.
throw us a little.
but I
treat.
think it was more
and it
so.
literally cuts to
but-
his feet.
but
you
she
see the
also-
back of Yoda's head, and then it just.
But I think it was also in the sense of was trying to keep the power as far as keeping the Jedi formed with the
And my whole
Republic
thing is,
and all that
how
too.
did Yoda not sense all this?
Well, how did Yoda not sense Palpatine? That's why I
Because
brought up to you.
Palpatine is the most powerful Sith that ever lived.
Okay, but
and he was
Yoda is
able to
literally
suppress
one
the
of-
power. This is just.
Dude.
But I'm talking about like, Yoda feels
He's
it.
like,
Dude.
fuck, man. what's
No,
up?"
no, Yoda feels it when everyone starts dying. in
Yeah, but
Order
Palpatine
66.
was literally in his face for years. How do you not How do you
because
not?
it's Palpatine.
Bro, that's I think that's if we're gonna say like how did he not
I'm
feel
saying, how
all
did he
the-
not feel the fact that like 7 Jedi died on a planet? How would he not know?
I mean,
He's
that's the
head
thing.
of the Jedi Council.
Yeah, but again, Palpatine. How did he? You're saying that Palpatine was able to not.
These are unrelated.
How are they not unrelated? How is he not able to feel a
Again,
fucking?
because Palpatine was able to suppress his Force signature because he was literally the most powerful Sith that ever lived. He was more powerful. I mean, I guess Anakin, but by the time Anakin turns into Darth Vader, he is kind of nerfed because all of his appendages are gone.
Yeah, yeah,
And his suit was designed by Palpatine so Palpatine could control him.
yeah. But and it's almost in the
So at
sense.
that
but,
point-
but you know when Vanestra goes and tells Yoda as far as what happened or having the conversation like this is what's going on. I mean, it ended kind of in the cliffhanger, so we don't really know their
Yeah,
conversation.
They did that on every episode for some reason. They felt the need to do a cliffhanger.
Well,
every
I think that.
single episode.
Well, I think,
which,
but so,
again,
so
is
who's
bad
so,
writing.
but who's to say that Yoda was not going to be like, hey, I already sensed this. I already knew, what was going on. Like, and maybe Yoda in the sense was thinking also in the sense of for the good of the Jedi, we should lie. I mean, I think I did.
That goes against basically everything Yoda has ever stood for in every single movie he's been in.
What go like
To
putting-
lie and be deceitful. When have you ever seen Yoda do that? Yoda is.
I think. Well, I think he's not as great as you're making out to be. Like I think with the
Give me one example.
Well, the whole situation with Anakin, he's telling them to suppress his emotions. Anakin came to him like, "Look,
He's the one that said, "I don't want you to train him at all," because
Yeah.
Yoda was on
Okay.
like, "Hey, like I sense that there's an easy path for him to the dark side,
Right.
and maybe we shouldn't let him
But
utilize
but I'm
those
but-
powers."
Yeah, but when Anakin
So-
came to him in Revenge of the Sith, was like, "Look, I am struggling. I'm going through all this," and he's just like, "You have to let all this go." Like, clearly, you see this dude is not. He's struggling with all this. Shouldn't their attention be solely on Anakin? Like, I think we've talked about it, they failed him completely. Like, if Yoda was such a great master, he should have been. I don't know. I think there should have been
Well, he
super
wasn't his
special
master.
attention. But I mean, if Anakin's the so-called chosen one, why are you not
Right.
focusing on this kid who's so conflicted? You feel how conflicted he is, and you're telling him you brought him in at this age to let all these feelings go.
They didn't want him to bring.
I know,
him
but
in.
it's too late now. But I'm saying they did.
they
So now he's in
I
here,
mean,
right? So what?
they
why?
only did because Obi-Wan was like, "I'll leave the order and train him anyways."
Yeah, but I'm saying now he's here. He's been trained for
Right.
years. He's literally a Jedi Knight.
And
You
I
guys
think
don't deem him a Jedi Master.
because
see-
of how off the handle he would fly. He's one of the only Jedi that we see
Yeah.
that acts that way until this show, where apparently everyone can fly off the handle. That's not how Jedi
But
are
I-
basically monks.
But no,
Like think of
but-
how Luke acts. Think of how Obi-Wan
Yeah,
acts.
but I
think
think-
of how
No, but
Mace
Qui-Gon was,
Windu
but
acts.
Qui-Gon was also someone who didn't follow the
who was
council
also
too.
not on the
And then
Jedi
and then
Council.
also, I mean, Count Dooku. I mean,
And
before Count
Qui-Gon
Dooku,
operated in a completely different way. Qui-Gon didn't
sorry,
let his
great job.
emotions run rampant. He may have made a decision based
Yeah.
off something that he decided, but it was a calm decision
Yeah.
and not based off of purely emotion.
but I think it's also showing the flaw of how not every Jedi is the same in the sense of like Obi-Wan, where they have balance in their emotions. Like Saul was
Sure.
clearly someone conflicted. So I think the show did a good job of saying, okay, the Jedi they're not absolutely the greatest. Like they're not absolutely good. There are conflict in the sense of how they operate things as far as shutting off their emotions, which led to them eventually. I mean, it led to their downfall. Like you can't lead with bringing people in
No,
the sense
that
of
didn't lead to their downfall. It led
their
to their-
arrogance led to a downfall,
well, that's
man.
because they didn't believe it was possible for the Sith to return, and
Bruh,
just pure ignorance. But
ignorance on not being there for Anakin too. I mean, I keep going back to that, but if you're gonna let someone in who you claim to be the chosen one, and
I don't know if they claimed for him to be the chosen one. Qui-Gon claimed
Mace
that.
said he
And
was the chosen
Qui-Gon
one
was
too.
dead.
Well, I mean, Mace and Yoda, I mean, they all believed it too. I mean, they saw how
I think there was a
powerful the
lot of
Force-
hesitation from Yoda, basically all the prequels, and then after what happens, and he sees that he goes to the dark side. That's why Yoda just like takes off and goes mad in the wilderness and just loses
Well,
his mind.
Well,
Because he's like,
well,
what?
he failed, man. He failed.
I don't know if Yoda failed. I think
think
that's
it-
a stretch to put that on Yoda.
I think that they.
And I don't even know
the
if
Jedi Council
Obi-Wan
failed.
failed.
I don't think Obi-Wan failed. I think Obi-Wan ultimately.
Well, Obi-Wan's more at fault than Yoda.
I think Obi-Wan did the best that he could. Ultimately, he maybe wasn't the best.
So Yoda's more at fault than Obi-Wan, who was his master.
What was Obi-Wan supposed to do? He did everything he could when it came to Anakin. Like he was there for him.
So then what was Yoda supposed to do?
I think the council should have been more on like Anakin should have got special privileges in the sense of like we need to be focusing on him. Like they treated him like an outcast, which is why he went to Palpatine so much. They just like were like no.
Yeah,
no.
but
That's what I mean.
that
like,
was also Palpatine using like deceit to find that angle and then
Dude.
use it.
I know, but I just think they should. I mean, Palpatine was there for him, bro. I mean, so he manipulated him for sure, but like the council did not trust Anakin, bro. Like
Well,
they
I think they were onto something.
I don't know, man. I think also the Clone Wars do paint Anakin in a better light in the sense that he wasn't this freaking bratty, impulsive dude. Like he was actually a great leader.
You're talking about the animated
Yeah,
series.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
you kind of see that a little bit in
I was
the
about to say,
show.
in the movie,
Yeah. Yeah, he was very
he goes on a tear. And
Yeah.
he kills
Well, no, I meant
the
before,
women and the children.
I meant before that. I meant in the sense of like during the Clone Wars, like during the he was a great
He's
leader.
fantastic
Yeah,
in
he was-
the animated series.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think he was more balanced, and he was actually a great. But I mean, I guess that came
but
after.
and it's
Revenge.
also why they have that rule as Jedi to not have attachment, and he secretly had obviously his love affair with Padme,
Yeah.
and I don't know how you place that on anyone in the Jedi Council. That's like that was Anakin's choice to do that.
Yeah.
And
But
say, I don't care about the rules. I'm going to do what I want. So part of that was Anakin being a brat.
Mm.
You know,
uh,
you want to be placed on the council
Yeah.
and be held in this high regard, but then you're going to undermine the values of the Jedi. So at the same time, and I love Anakin. I'm just saying there is validity in the fact that Yoda was like, no, you are not ready. And Mace Windu saying, you're not ready.
No, I don't think he should have been deemed master.
Yeah.
But I also
he
think
was definitely strong enough.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
you're just not composed enough.
yeah, not
And that
composed enough.
was-
Not yeah, but I also think like again, there was not enough special attention given to the kid that you claim to be the chosen one. If you see how conflicted he is,
Yeah, but if
why
you go
not?
back and watch it, they're still in denial if he is the chosen one. Like Mace Windu almost says it with like derision. Like if he is the chosen one, like they're not bought in like Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon.
well, no, but Mace does bring it up. He says, is he not supposed to bring balance to the Force? Weren't they?
Right, well, that's because he's like, this is the chosen one. You guys, like, you got to think they made a decision not to let him in, and then had to go back on it because Obi-Wan was like, fine, I'm leaving the Order and I'm gonna train him on my own. And they finally were like, all right, like I guess we'll let it. Like so, after that, you got to think you already made a decision that you didn't want to let him in, and now you're watching it go sideways. You're gonna be like, I thought he was the chosen one.
I look all the more
I thought
reason
he'd
you
bring
see how
balance to the
you
Force.
see. I thought this kid was no, but
Yeah.
all the more reason why you see how powerful this kid is.
I mean, sure.
I don't know. We're going, but
This is way off of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Acolyte.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
have gone way up.
yeah,
But
but-
I've
Well, I
just
mean-
been listening.
I don't know. And you brought this up about like, you know, seeing this is more about just Disney Star Wars in general, but seeing like stuff outside of the Skywalkers. They're really trying to kill the Skywalker story entirely. And you can see that in the three movies that they made.
That's a
where
hot take right there.
No, I mean
But it's
they
true.
are
It
like
is
in
true.
the
It is
literally
true.
in the 3 movies.
I'm just trying to make it a big deal
In
because
the-
I always get
In the
made a
sequels,
big deal about it.
they kill off Luke, and Luke looks like a bitch, and they kill off Padme, and she can fly like Mary Poppins.
Yeah,
And
Yeah, that was the weirdest thing
Ben
I've ever
Solo,
seen.
who's like really a Skywalker, they make him out to be just, terrible. Kylo Ren, same guy, but I don't know. They do a good job of being like, yeah, and they even say it. They say it to our face. Kill the past
Oh
if
yeah,
you have to.
that's Ryan Johnson, bro. I think
Trash.
yeah. Look, I'm with you on the new trilogy film. We're in
Yeah.
agreement
Well,
in
it
the
took
sense
a
of
while, but finally.
well, I mean, I like the Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens is the
I
only one
like-
that's manageable, and even then, it's still
Yeah.
like, yeah,
I-
it was so bad that Harrison Ford was like, "Get me the fuck out of here, kill me off, because I'm not doing this."
He's
shit
like
anymore."
I'm over this.
Yeah.
I think Harrison Ford has a love-hate relationship with just the whole Star Wars thing, like him being just known for, which I don't think he's.
I think
known
he's probably
for.
more
I think-
known for Indiana Jones, honestly.
I agree, but
Yeah,
I think
too.
he's just annoyed about just also being
He's probably just being involved in it.
involved in such a huge in Star Wars. Like he's just over.
Yeah.
He's like this grumpy old man. Like, all right, like I get it. Okay,
I mean,
whatever.
he's been in so many iconic roles.
I know. That's why I'm
Dude,
like
Blade
Blade
Runner?
Runner.
Yeah.
What?
He's so good.
Well, I gotta say, it is pretty cute to see you guys in agreement now on some things. But
Oh,
speaking of what you guys are not in agreement on, Acolyte. Any closing arguments from the two of you?
Oh,
As
what would
to
you rate-
why
would
it
you
is? Yeah, yeah.
What would I
We need a
rate
little.
it?
We need
Okay,
5
so,
Dream Stars
Look, I
rating.
gave it a 4 out of 10 when we first did the podcast. I think there were 2 episodes left. I would probably give it a 2 out of 10.
5 Dream Stars. 5 Dream Stars. So what would you rate?
So
it
out of 5?
Yeah, out of 5.
1.
Oh, oof.
Yeah.
I give it a
That's
3.
Yemi's ranking system you came up with.
Yeah.
Dream Stars.
Okay, that's fine.
I give it 3.5 out of 5 Dream Stars.
Any reason? Or
I can't.
I mean,
I can't give it a 4.
I-
4 is like
I think
Feels like
we
it's too
definitely
high.
we know why he doesn't like it.
yeah. No,
There's way more too that we could get into, but
I didn't know if there was
you'd have to
anything
go
else
like
you wanted to.
scene by scene and talk about like why this doesn't make sense and why this is bad and why does Soul have such an attachment to Ocean May that he met 5 minutes ago?
Maybe we can make that like a
Like, why-
side segment on our YouTube.
You know what I
It's just
mean?
You two in a room face to face.
Yeah.
Black and white.
Can you explain that?
Boy, his attachment.
Why does he have such an attachment to
I think he's.
Osha?
I
He
think.
met her 5 minutes ago.
I think
and now he's
Well, I think he could sense how powerful she was in a
Sure.
sense, and I think he was also. It was kind of a situation where he was just he was unfamiliar what these witches were and how strong in the force they were, and he thought it was strange. He's like, and he's been trained in the sense of like, if I see someone that's force sensitive and very powerful in force, they should be trained. They'd be allowed to take the test. Like, I guess that's the normal and like with the Jedis in general. So
sure, but he
And
was like
I think he
consistent.
but I think he desperately wanted a Padawan too. But I think that's just it was also just explaining the complexities of Soul in his character. Like he was very a conflicted character and complicated character, in a sense. So I think he was just like, what are these witches doing? I have to get them away from that. I don't understand this foreign magic. Like they deserve like, and then when they tested it, and then Osha was like, I want to be trained. Like I want to be a Jedi, and he was like, okay, cool. Like yeah, you're rightfully able to
Right.
do that.
I'm
Like,
saying before that though, before like they.
well, he saw them out there, and he was like, yo, these kids are freaking extremely powerful. Like, what is going on here? There's this, what do they call it? Some like type of solstice. I don't know what they were saying about the whole sense of how.
Thread.
No, there's no.
Yeah, there's a new word for the Force too. It's called the thread.
Not the threat. The threat, but he's saying there's some type of
Oh, that's what they call it.
well, there's some type of something happening in the sense of like all this energy was being channeled here, probably from witches, probably from the planet where it was at, and probably from the twins. So
Divergence in the Force.
yeah, that's what you
Yeah.
said. Divergence, yeah.
They
So-
are divergence in the
yeah.
Force.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I don't know. I thought the writing was better for the way Anakin was conceived because it was literally
oh yeah. I'm,
Plagueis.
Yeah.
And this is the other thing is now this is the backstory as to why Plagueis tries to create a being from the Force because he saw it done by these dumbass witches or saw the product of it. So now Plagueis, another one of the most important people in the Star Wars history, now he has his reason why.
Man, I gotta watch this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch
Said
it.
no. I'm getting yeses. I'm getting no's. It's like
No,
a
yeah.
two angels
Three-
on each shoulder. Like
3.5
yeah,
out of
no.
5 Dream Stars. I mean, it's not perfect. It's not bad. It's
We got
not
a
great.
1. We got a 1 and a 3.5.
It's good.
Yeah.
That's
All right.
that's where I'm at.
Anything else, guys? Anything else?
What's
Acolyte?
coming out? Star Wars.
Or any future Star Wars stuff?
Skeleton Crew.
Okay.
Jude Law is going to be in it.
Okay. Is that just bounty hunters or something?
Yeah, I mean,
It's not
kind
really-
of.
not gonna focus
Yeah.
on it. What, do we know the timeline?
I'm not familiar with it, but I just know that I think that will probably come out. I think it did it
Next
say
year?
December?
No, wait, not this year.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
I saw something was coming out in late December, but I don't know.
Andor?
No.
That's still
Definitely not
coming?
Andor. But I don't know.
Wow, it is coming out this year.
December 9th, right?
Yeah, what the?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Let's go. We got another Star Wars series coming out.
Did Dave Filoni sign off of it? Because if he did, I'll tell you what, my confidence in him has diminished after he signed off on the
Wow,
Acolyte.
Jeez. He's the executive producer.
Oh, great.
Favreau and Filoni.
Favreau,
Yeah.
you got my interest now. Favreau,
Filoni-
because
bro,
Favreau
Filoni
did the
is-
Mandalorian.
Yeah,
Bro.
whatever, yeah.
Bro, Filoni is freaking...
Not if he signed off on the Acolyte.
Yeah, but Filoni also directed that episode of... One, he did Clone Wars. And then he
Sure.
directed...
I'm just saying, like,
I trust Filoni more than Favreau. I mean,
I
Favreau's
trust
great.
Favreau more than Filoni. At this point.
I think
Ooh.
Filoni...
After
Well,
Acolyte,
Lucas
heard
deemed
it here
Filoni his like successor. He was like, you have the keys. Like he's a freaking Star Wars guru when it comes to this stuff. And I think he was just the Acolyte, you can't put all on him. It's not like he was in control of like he was just the executive
right?
producer.
But if he greenlit certain things,
Yeah.
then it's like, well, you know, and I don't know how involved he was, but if he's the creative control of Star Wars, then you'd have to think this came across his desk at some point. Hey, this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to think. I don't know. I'd be.
You would assume.
Yeah. No, but again, like it's come from a person who liked the show, so I don't
That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah.
You got anything else?
I mean, Skeleton Crew comes out December 3rd.
December 3rd.
Yeah.
Skeleton Crew.
Okay, third.
All right.
Yeah, I knew it was December. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Jude Law's in it. And then next year, I think some things come out. For sure. I mean, they're
Yeah.
pushing Star Wars stuff every year at this point, but
Well, shit.
Andor probably.
maybe. I don't know.
Season
I would
2.
love for it to
I feel
come
like
out.
next year. Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Andor
Yeah.
was fantastic.
Yeah.
Andor's
It's probably it's
Andor is
best
probably the
series.
best Star Wars that's come out since Disney took over, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I mean, Rogue One.
Yeah, well, but
Andor.
yeah, they're kind of the same thread, right? You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah.
Like,
No.
but yes, Rogue One is the best movie that's come out since Disney took over, and Rogue One is the best. Or Andor's
Rogue
the
One
best
was
show.
pretty damn.
All right,
real,
I thought Rogue
real
One was
quick,
great.
rank your Star Wars series.
Series
Yeah, from best to worst.
from Disney.
Yeah, Disney Star Wars era.
Does Clone Wars count?
No, you can't. Live action.
Man.
I know. Yeah, I'm gonna put
You're
that.
really.
Season 8.
you're
Come
really
on,
hammering
that's
me
a
here.
That's a masterpiece. Come
That's
on.
what I'm saying. It would be
No,
one.
you can't. No, you can't do that.
I mean, Andor's one for sure. 2 is Mandalorian.
Which seasons? Are you just
1 and
saying
2?
okay.
3's
The Book of.
Bo-Katan. The Book of Bo-Katan. 3 just really fell off. We'll see how the Mandalorian and Grogu movie go, but
I think it's gonna be good.
I hope so.
Favreau's directing, right?
Yeah, I hope it's good. But then I'd say probably Ahsoka. I mean, we don't have a lot to pick from yet. I know they've released a lot of stuff, but I mean,
Yeah.
can you really consider like Tales of the Jedi? They're very cool.
Yeah,
but they're like
that's what I
20-minute
mean.
episodes
That's
that
what I meant. Like
are
live
non-linear and
Action.
not
Live action.
like
live
it's not
action.
like a linear story. It's just like a 20-minute episode that's fun,
Yeah.
and then another 20-minute episode that's
Yeah.
fun, and they're cool. But
Yeah.
so what does that give me? 3. Then I'd say, I guess, the Book of Boba Fett. I guess. I mean,
no.
well,
You're putting.
what would you?
I mean,
What other shows? are there?
Obi-Wan.
Okay, yeah, Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I was like, you're putting the Book of.
So wait, I got Ahsoka,
Yeah.
Andor.
Not to tell you what to choose.
No,
but-
it would be Obi-Wan for sure, and then I guess Book of Boba. Is there anything else that I'm missing
I mean,
for live action?
the
Acolyte.
Acolyte.
Yeah, that doesn't- at least, yeah.
I like how you tried to do
He's
that.
like, dude,
So,
the
yeah, man,
Acolyte.
throw it in.
Yeah, no, it's worse.
I mean, I've only seen 2. Of these.
Actually,
I
the
can
Book
only,
of Boba Fett.
I can. It's only
I'm not gonna lie.
you two rank. I've only seen a little bit of Andor and then
The
Mandalorian.
Book of Boba
so.
Fett's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I
think
hate even
anything
putting it
else.
in the top 5, but you run out of options. There's only been like 6 or 7 series
Yeah. So for me,
for live action.
Andor, Ahsoka. I've been
Ooh.
rewatching Ahsoka.
Ahsoka?
Yeah, really.
Above
Well, no.
Mandalorian?
Sorry, Mandalorian. You're right.
Okay.
Season 1 and 2, and then Ahsoka, then Obi-Wan, then the Acolyte.
So same as me, except I had
Yeah.
Book of Boba over.
So-
Yeah, and then Book of
Acolyte.
Boba. Yeah,
It's trash.
It's trash.
I got the
absolute
Power
trash.
Rangers in that
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. The best episode was the Mandalorian episode, which is kind of sad to be honest.
I mean, 100% is, but
Yeah.
hey, at least we got that. At least we got one good episode.
Man, it's true.
Well, I would say you guys did a good job of arguing that again for a second time since we had
We tried to
re-record
recreate
it.
it, yeah.
I mean, it's pretty similar. I mean, you came in pretty hot, Nick. I was dying
Yeah.
when you first started talking. So yeah, there it is. Pro Acolyte, no Acolyte, and yeah. Let us know in the comments below what you guys think. If you guys are Team Acolyte or if you guys think it sucked too. Yeah, and just you guys got anything else or all good?
Appreciate you guys for
Yeah.
listening. Follow the TikTok, Rising of the Dreamerverse, YouTube, the Rising of the Dreamerverse, Instagram, the Rising.
Yeah, it's Rising of the Dreamerverse.
Yeah, the Rising of the Dreamerverse.
I think.
Yeah, comment,
sure.
like, subscribe. We actually have I think he commented on our Apple page, but I had a friend who told me that he was like a friend of a friend. He's telling me that he really was vibing for our podcast. I
Dope,
think he just
dope.
like stumbled.
I haven't honestly
Which is
looked at the
kinda cool.
Apple.
Yeah.
I need to look at the Apple.
Yeah, he like stumbled
I
on.
don't
He was
even
like,
look
you
at the Spotify one.
Yeah, he was
but-
like,
'cause that's where we post to.
yeah, he stumbled on our Instagram and our TikTok. He was like, yeah, you guys are pretty good. So
All right, dope.
Which is
Fuck
kinda
yeah.
cool.
Heard it here first. Friend of a friend.
Yeah.
So we're good.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys here in a little bit. Peace.
peace.